Turning to the U.S. election now, President Trump is pushing back against a plan to change the rules for the next two candidate debates. The commission that runs the event says changes are needed after the first debate descended into chaos. Trump kept interrupting his opponent, Joe Biden, and both men traded insults. Polls suggest most viewers think Biden won the debate. Trump is declaring himself, though, the winner. Most national surveys show Biden with a comfortable lead with less than 5 weeks to go until Election Day. The latest, sponsored by CNBC, has the former vice president ahead by 13 percentage points. Biden often criticizes Trump for moving the United States away from traditional alliances and multinational agreements. So what would U.S. foreign policy look like under a President Biden? CGTN's Nathan King takes a look.
When it comes to U.S. foreign policy, Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden has a long record. As former President Barack Obama's vice president, he was front and center. Getting to know Xi Jinping before he became Chinese president, Biden was also an advocate for the Paris climate deal and the Iran nuclear deal, but also more cautious when it came to the ever-deepening U.S. involvement in conflicts from Afghanistan to Syria to Libya. He was a voice of relative restraint. So the Washington consensus is that a President Biden foreign policy would be kind of a back to the future, erasing the America First Trump agenda and rebuilding frayed alliances from Asia to Europe and restoring the multilateralism that was perceived as a more stable time during the Obama years.
Joe Biden coming in, he's trying to say, look, we're going to go back to normal. We're going to go back to normal. We're going to come back perhaps into the Paris Climate Treaty. We want to come back into the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action with Iran. On those points, yes, there may be more of an emphasis on multilateral formations between the United States and its allies, but it's not a global multilateralism.
Brian Becker is not part of the Washington foreign policy consensus. A longtime critic of U.S. policy, he sees an incoming Biden administration as actually very little different when it comes to the global agenda adopted by Trump.
If Joe Biden is elected, we can expect more continuity than change, which might seem counterintuitive given all the drama around the election. But on many issues, Joe Biden has signaled that he's going to stay the course with Donald Trump's position. He favors the overthrow of the Maduro government in Venezuela. He supports moving the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem. In terms of China, a very hardline position on China.
Being so-called tough on China has become the Washington consensus during the Trump era. Both Republicans and Democrats, no real difference. The big question over the next 4 years is whether U.S. allies will fall in line behind this controversial policy. Nathan King, CGTN, at the White House.